Hello everyone, and welcome to ReelTime Top 10 Reviews. This is where we will bring you a top 10 list of either the best or worst, along with 5 honorable or dishonorable mentions. Today we are doing a witch theme in honor of the witch, which will be out this Thursday. I personally will be excited to go see it.
Sadly, I won't be able to see it.
Well, that's because you're lame. So the movies on our list are movies that either focus on witchcraft, have a very iconic witch, or some way witchy related. One quick note, we decided because if we did Harry Potter as individual movies, we'd be here all day. We just decided to make them one big franchise. So Harry Potter is just one big group that includes all the movies. So with that, my name is Christina, and this is my co-host, Mr. Josh.
How you doing, everybody? Really excited to be here. I'm really excited for Witch. I'm sad I can't see it on Friday. I'll have to wait till the weekend, but, you know, I'm really excited to be here. So now we'll start going into our honorable mentions. Now, typically we won't necessarily talk briefly about the honorable mentions, which we will in our top 10s, but we still feel like they should have been mentioned. And if you disagree, like we said, leave your comments below and share your thoughts. So without further ado, let's get started with what we think is the top 10 greatest witches or witchcraft movies of all time. Starting off with our honorable mentions. And they're also in no particular order. First one is Stardust. Number 2 would be I Married a Witch. Number 3 is The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Number 4 is the original animated version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And also coming in at number 5, which I voted for this being a top 10, but she voted against, so it's an honorable mention.
I not only voted against, I fought against this. I hate this movie so much.
It is the Blair Witch Project.
It sucks.
The only reason I feel it should be even somewhere in the list or honorable mentions is the style. It was shaky camera, realism type of filming was introduced with that movie.
That was not a good thing. We should not celebrate that, but whatever.
And I also felt it was a very good, creepy movie that added in the witchcraft aspect.
No, it wasn't creepy. It was 2 hours of people running around. There was no point to it. The second one actually was really good, though. We should have put the second one on there. It was way better.
Nah.
Whatever. You haven't seen the second one. You don't get to talk. So, moving on to our actual top 10. We will start at the bottom and work our way up. So, starting with number 10, we have Drag Me to Hell. Now, this is personally one of my favorite horror movies. We have a really creepy, gross old witch. You know, you have that classic, doesn't matter what the hero tries to do, they still end up screwed. I love it.
That ending was so creepy. It still freaks me out when I watch it to this day. I don't know how I still get scared from it, but it was really, really well done movie. Coming at number 9, we have The Witches. Now, The Witches was a movie made back in the 90s. It involved 3 witches who decided, you know, they hate all the kids in the town, so they're going to turn them all into rats. While this movie does have its good creepy factor to it, I thought it was really good at having some good blends of comedy, of being like kind of like a dark comedy feel, but also having some good creepiness to it. And I always elude her name, but she was the Morticia in Addams Family. She's in this movie. She was great. I thought she did a really great job playing kind of the leader of the witches that are involved in this like kind of curse they're putting upon the town. And I just think it was a really well done movie. Coming at number 8, we have The Wicker Man. Now, The Wicker Man, this is the 1973 version, not the crappy, which is Nicolas.
That bad.
The Nicolas Cage Wicker Man was crap.
First of all, it's got Nicolas Cage. It can't be okay. Early Nicolas Cage. It can't be that bad. He's hot. Second of all, it wasn't that bad.
That movie, the original 1973 version, was a great way of introducing not really witches. You know how the witches with the brooms, but it was very witchcraft based, and it was really well done at making it a very creepy-esque type of introduction into kind of witchcraft and stuff and that so forth. And then the ending, when he's kind of, almost being served up in a sense, the main character, it was really well-crafted movie, really well directed, and written movie. I just feel like it was a very good blend of showing some witchcraft into the movie.
Coming up at number 7, we have The Witches of Eastwick, which, it's got Jack Nicholson in it. That right there is a good sell point and share.
Michelle Pfeiffer's in it as well.
So this one, I remember I watched it when I was a kid, and I loved it. Like, laughed the whole way through. It's a really great example of more the funny side of witches. I mean, they were still, you know, kind of badass in their own weird, share way, but it was a more entertaining, fun side of witches, which I like.
Yeah, I can agree with that very much so. And he's good in everything. Jack Nicklaus was just amazing in this movie. And also Cher and Michelle Pfeiffer, they all had a really great dynamic in the movie, and I felt it was that also had to do in part with the writing, which I think was really well done as well.
It was a good storyline.
Definitely.
For number 6, we have Practical Magic, which actually somehow escaped our notice until the last minute, so I was glad we remembered.
I don't know how we forgot about it.
I don't know. I think, for me, part of the reason is because I always thought of it more as like a great sister bonding movie than necessarily a witchy movie, but they were witches, and they were fairly badass about it. I mean, if you're going to bring your ex back from the dead, you know.
Might as well.
Right?
And I said Sandra Bullock was to me the very big standout in the movie. She did a really great job at portraying her character, and it is very much about sisterhood, but it really gives that element of witchcraft element to it. Well, like some of them have more witch elements to it, some have more witchcraft. This one had a really great witchcraft element to it, which I thought was really, really well done in the way of the movie was made. So coming at number 5, we have Suspiria. This to me had to be top 5. She hadn't seen it yet, but for me, I knew it had to be on this list. If anybody who doesn't know about Suspiria, I highly recommend you go check this movie out if you have not seen it. It is about a ballet dancer who wants to be in this very prestigious European dance school, and she gets in, but then when she finally realizes it's actually the dance school is just a cover for a murderous witch covenant. And from there, after she finds out they're trying to kill her, and also it gets really crazy. It has that old school 70s blood everywhere, and it was over the top. I loved it. It's just a very great movie. It's showing kind of the dark side of witch covenants and like how some can be very, very murderous and villainous. It's just very dark and really good horror movie.
Coming up at number 4, we have The Craft, which part of the reason I love this is because it's like teen angst meets magic meets just that great 90s movie feel, you know.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. It brought magic more into the modern era, you know, now we've got high schoolers dabbling in it, and it was great.
While it doesn't have great reviews, to me, I actually feel it's a little underrated. I really enjoy this movie a lot. I mean, it may have some of its story problems and maybe some acting problems on some of the people's parts. Some, not all. But
I mean, look at the time that it came out in. It was actually great for the time it came out in.
Well, yeah.
So.
And this one, this one reason it's so high on our list is because it does a great blend of both witchcraft and the witches, unlike them working kind of like being like a sisterhood of witches and doing a lot of really cool spells and magic into the movie itself, where it really was like a real wild, like mind trip almost of some of the spells they did in this movie. It was really, really great. Like, add some psychological factors in it with the spells and curses. That's why it's so high on our list, is because of that factor.
At number 3, we have the Harry Potter franchise. Again, this includes all the Harry Potter movies. I mean, for this, I feel like we don't even have to explain why it's on the list, except maybe why it's not higher, just in the fact that we had things we liked better. But Harry Potter, it's the name in witchcraft and wizardry these days, you know?
Very, very popular in pop culture these days still. And what more can you say about Harry Potter? I mean, it's fun. It has some dark movies. It has some really fun, light movies. But then again, it's a school of witchcraft and wizardry. I mean, what really more can you say other than that we didn't want to have them separate? We have it all one inclusive name with the Harry Potter franchise. And overall, like you said, great franchise. Probably one of the best, arguably one of the top 10 franchises ever. You can be a very big argument to be said.
And at number 2, which by the way, I fought for this to be higher. Always fight for things to be harder. Anyway, Hocus Pocus. So Hocus Pocus to me is just the classic witch movie to watch at Halloween time. Like, when I think of witches at Halloween, I think this movie. I love it. The actresses were just above and beyond fantastic. You know, the storyline was fun and kind of sweet, but it's mostly just the actresses. Like, those three witches.
They were so over the top.
But it made them so great.
But no, it's a good thing. They were very over the top, and it worked for the movie that it was on. And even then, like, it started off dark, and like you almost thought like this isn't what I imagined it being. But then it gets really fun and lighthearted, and they still do a lot of spells and curses in the movie. And I mean, one of the centric storylines with the cat, with Binks, the cat, is a curse that's placed on him, and I mean, it's very, very popular family, a really great family horror, like not horror, but very good family witch movie to watch with your families and friends. It really doesn't matter who. It's a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. And then finally, our number one, what we consider to be the best witches and witchcraft movie of all time.
I want to break in here and point out, even before we announce it, why? Because I think when we announce it, everyone's going to be like, what the hell? This is because we consider this the most iconic witch out there. Like, when you think of witches, this is what you get.
The Wizard of Oz. When anybody thinks of a witch, or if you see little kids running around on Halloween, the most witch they're dressed like is the Wicked Witch of the West. And she really made kids frightened back then when this first came out. I mean, she was scary to a lot of kids. I mean, her throwing the fireballs. I'm sorry, if you haven't seen Wizard of Oz yet, I'm gonna go into some spoilers here. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, you're crazy. It's just
judge your childhood if you haven't seen it.
Exactly. And then her flying on the traditional flying on the broomstick, and just for the flying monkeys too. Her little
best little minions ever.
Exactly.
Short of the actual minions.
The reason this movie is number one, I can even arguably say that it's the best movie on the list. Period. Like, just as overall how good a movie is, but in the main sense, she is the most iconic and most well-known, still to this day, witch of probably ever. And that's why we considered her to be on this list, or this movie to be on this list. Well, that'll do us for today, folks. Listen, do you agree with our list? Whether you do or you do not, please jump in the comments below and share your thoughts on what you would be considered to be the best witches or witchcraft movie of all time. And if you like what you watched and you like our content, please click the like button below and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can receive more up-to-date content and for future videos throughout the weeks to come. Thank you very much for watching, folks. And again, thank you for keeping it real with ReelTime.